He thought he was going to work security at a warehouse. He thought he was going to assemble drone parts in a factory far from any war. Instead, he ended up here, in a trench in a country he'd never heard of before, hunted from the sky by a machine he never saw coming. This is not a war movie. This is footage from the actual battlefield in Ukraine. And some of the men caught in it are not Russian. They are not Ukrainian. They are Kenyan. In this documentary, we are going to break down piece by piece exactly how young Kenyan men are being recruited, sometimes through lies, sometimes with their eyes wide open, and sent to one of the most technologically brutal battlefields in human history. We will show you how the recruitment works, who is behind it, what happens to the men who go, and most importantly, what modern war actually looks like today. Because this is not the war your uncle or grandfather fought. This is a war fought by cameras in the sky that never blink and never miss. If you are watching this because you are thinking about going to Russia for work, watch until the end. Let's start with how this actually begins, because almost none of these men set out to become soldiers. It starts with an advert, sometimes on Facebook, sometimes on WhatsApp, sometimes passed from one unemployed friend to another. The job title sounds ordinary: driver, security guard, construction worker, factory technician, drone assembler. The salary sounds extraordinary, often quoted around $2,700 a month, sometimes with a signing bonus, sometimes with a promise of fast-tracked Russian citizenship. For a young Kenyan man who has been job hunting for months or years, that number is not just attractive, it's life-changing. It's the difference between struggling and finally being able to support a family. Kenyan authorities have since shut down more than 600 recruitment agencies suspected of running this exact playbook, luring people with fake job listings, then walking them step by step toward Russia. Here is how the pipeline typically works. Step 1. An agent, sometimes based in Nairobi, sometimes operating through informal networks, makes contact. He may be a friend of a friend, someone who claims to have already gone and made it. Step 2. The recruit is told the job is legitimate civilian work. Some are told they'll be assembling drones, handling chemicals, or painting, not fighting. Some are simply told nothing specific at all, only that opportunities are waiting. Step 3. Travel is arranged, sometimes directly out of Nairobi, but after Kenyan authorities tightened watch at the airport, recruiters began routing people through Uganda, South Africa, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Instead, to avoid detection. Step 4. Visas, often tourist visas, not work visas, are issued. Investigators allege this involved officials inside Russia's embassy in Nairobi and Kenya's own embassy in Moscow, though Russia's embassy has publicly denied any role in illegal recruitment. Step 5. The recruit arrives in Russia, and this is where the story changes. Once a recruit lands in Russia, accounts from survivors describe a strikingly consistent pattern. He is taken to a facility, sometimes described as a training camp, sometimes a barracks. He is handed paperwork, written in Russian, and told to sign it. Some are told this is simply an employment formality. Others are told plainly, this is the Russian military, and once you're in, you either fight or die. One Kenyan recruit, a former truck driver from Kiambu County, described it exactly like that. He had been promised work driving military supply trucks. Instead, he was handed a weapon.
My first day to hold the gun, so hata nilikuwa naangalia wenzangu kwenye gun unashikangwa aje hii kitu. Hizo nguo zetu everything wakachoma, kila kitu, viatu za raia everything. So tulibaki tu na combat peke yake na passport ndio tuweza kuingia nazo kwa hiyo training camp.
Training, if you can call it that, is shockingly short. Kenyan lawmakers have been told that some recruits received as little as 9 days of preparation before being sent toward the front. Some cases document only 3 days. Let that sink in. In modern militaries, soldiers train for months, sometimes years, before they are considered combat ready. These men were given 9 days or less before being placed on one of the most dangerous battlefields on earth. A senior Kenyan lawmaker put it in blunt terms to Parliament. Nobody in the military trains people for 3 weeks. They are basically given a gun and sent to die. According to Kenya's own National Intelligence Service, more than 1,000 Kenyans have been pulled into this pipeline. Of those, 89 remained on the front line at the time of the report, 39 had been hospitalized, 28 were listed as missing in action, At least 19 confirmed dead, with some estimates rising higher over time. Around 50 plus have since been repatriated home through diplomatic efforts, and Kenya is not alone. Intelligence estimates suggest more than 1,000 additional people from 36 other African countries have been pulled into the same system, a continent-wide recruitment web, not a one-off scandal. This is not limited to men either. Investigators, including the US State Department's own human trafficking report, have documented cases of young Kenyan women, some as young as 18, recruited under the belief they were going for vocational training, who instead ended up working inside Russian drone manufacturing factories, the production lines building the very weapons now used against soldiers like the ones they once thought they'd never meet. Now here is the part most recruits, even the ones who go willingly, do not understand until it's too late. This is not the war their fathers or grandfathers would recognize. For most of the 20th century, a soldier's greatest fears were bullets, artillery, and landmines, threats that came from the ground, from a visible enemy, from a direction you could sometimes anticipate. That is no longer true. In this war, the greatest killer is not a rifle, it's a camera with wings. First-person view drones, FPV drones, now account for somewhere between 70% and 80% of all battlefield casualties in this conflict. Some assessments put it as high as 96% in certain months. These are small, often improvised aircraft, some costing as little as $1,000 to build, fitted with a camera, a small explosive charge, and a live video feed to a pilot who may be sitting kilometers away, watching a screen exactly like someone playing a video game. Except there is no restart button. These drones fly low, they fly fast, and increasingly they are fiber optic guided, meaning they trail a thin cable back to the operator instead of using radio signals. That makes them almost impossible to jam or block electronically. The old defenses soldiers relied on, signal jammers, radio countermeasures, increasingly do not work. A drone pilot doesn't need to see your uniform to identify you as a target. They just need to see movement. A single man walking across a field, a vehicle on a road, a group taking cover in a trench. All of it is visible, trackable, and targetable from the sky, often before the person on the ground even hears anything. To put the scale of this in perspective, in a single recent year, drone units on one side of this conflict alone reported carrying out more than 800,000 confirmed strikes, contributing to an estimated 240,000 plus soldiers killed or seriously wounded. All recorded on video, strike by strike. Casualty rates tied to drones have continued to climb month after month, even as both sides pour more resources into drone production, with output now reaching thousands of units per day. This is the environment a Kenyan recruit, trained for 9 days, holding a rifle he barely knows how to use, is walking into. Not a war of trenches and rifles alone, but a war where death can arrive silently, from directly overhead, aimed by someone he will never see, on a battlefield increasingly watched by machines rather than men. This is why the footage in this documentary matters. It is not here to shock for the sake of shock. It is here so that a young man in Nairobi or Kisumu or Eldoret, weighing a job offer that sounds too good to be true, can see with his own eyes exactly what security work in Russia has actually meant for people who came before him. It would be easy to end this story by simply blaming the recruiters or blaming Russia, but the deeper truth is more uncomfortable. Analysts point to a simple, painful reason this recruitment pipeline keeps finding new victims: economic desperation. Decades of a mismatch between Kenya's labour market and the number of young people entering it every year has pushed many to look for any opportunity abroad, in the Gulf, in Europe, and now increasingly in Russia. Recruiters understand this desperation, and they exploit it precisely. They don't advertise war. They advertise a way out of poverty. Kenya's government has since shut down over 600 recruitment agencies, negotiated directly with Russian officials, including a March 2026 agreement in which Russia committed to stop recruiting Kenyan nationals going forward, announced an amnesty for Kenyans who illegally joined so they can return home without prosecution, launched a public awareness campaign, Linda Makenya Maju, to educate citizens about legitimate overseas work and warn against illegal recruitment channels. secured consular access to Kenyans hospitalized in Russia to help identify and repatriate the injured and the remains of the dead. But Russia has also stated that recruits with active contracts must serve them in full, meaning even for those who now understand exactly what they signed up for, walking away is not simple. Ukrainian intelligence, meanwhile, has warned that Moscow is planning to recruit at least 18,500 more foreign fighters in 2026, suggesting this pipeline, far from closing, may be preparing to expand. No recruitment poster mentions this part. It doesn't mention the mother in Kiambu who doesn't know if her son is alive. It doesn't mention the wife who receives a phone call, not from her husband, but from a government official. It doesn't mention the children who will grow up being told their father went to work and never explained what kind of work it turned out to be. For every number in this documentary, 89 on the front line, 39 hospitalized, 28 missing, 19 or more confirmed dead, there is a family in Kenya still waiting for a phone call that may never come. If you are a young Kenyan looking at a job offer right now that promises thousands of dollars a month for security work, driving, or technical assembly in Russia, stop and ask direct questions before you say yes. Is this a registered, verifiable employer, not just an agent's phone number? Is a proper work visa being issued, not a tourist visa? Can you verify the company independently through Kenya's National Employment Authority? Would they let a family member accompany you to the interview or verify the offer with an embassy directly? If the answer to any of those is unclear, evasive, or just trust me, that hesitation you're feeling is your best instinct working correctly. This war is being fought differently than any war before it. The men who went before you did not fully understand that until they were already inside it. You do not have to make the same mistake.